This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV.com. It's been confirmed by numerous sources that Brock Lesnar's bleeding at Backlash in Puerto Rico over the weekend, which was apparently the hottest crowd since Canadian Stampede all the way back in 97, but Puerto Rico is known for being a hot crowd, which, by the way, supposedly Carlito got the loudest pop of the night and Sami Zayn got the least reaction of the night. But anyways, they allowed Brock Lesnar to intentionally bleed by purposely smashing his head hard way into the exposed turnbuckle pad. And then they didn't stop the match like they have in other matches in recent years, like the recent Finn Balor WrestleMania match. When accidental blood occurs, because this was not an accident, they allowed it. I mean, Brock Lesnar also did blood with John Cena, since they had the no blood policy in effect with Randy Orton. And then most recently with Roman Reigns. So, I mean, obviously, different rules apply to Brock Lesnar than with the rest of the roster. He is the top star that they have, the most known star that they have, that appears on a regular basis. And as far as WWE's no blood policies, they've always been revolving. In the late 80s, they put one in place, which Hogan, I believe, was allowed to break a few times, but Dynamite Kid talks about it in his book. They put it in place right after Dynamite had to do a series of cage matches in house shows where he had to bleed every night. Then they had this meeting where they said they were going to fine people for bleeding because of AIDS. Of course, WWE wrestlers now are tested regularly for diseases, and there's the pre-contract testing, which is, of course, how mine got rescinded, because at the time of my contract, I had Hep C, which I got by being cut with an infected blade from an infected person. So it's different than just bleeding in a match. It's direct, having an instrument put into my bloodstream that had been in an infected person's bloodstream without permission. But they also got, by the way, Bret Hart talks about having to pretend at WrestleMania 8 that his blood was accidental, even though he bled on purpose. And he mentioned that Ric Flair was fined for his WrestleMania match on that same WrestleMania against Savage for bleeding on purpose. He was fined. The fine was like $500 back then, so almost nothing. Then, of course, in the Attitude Era, they got rid of the no blood policy, and they even had like hardcore matches and stuff up into the early 2000s. Then at some point, I think it was after Bob Orton Jr., who had Hep C at the time, bled on The Undertaker in a cage match. And supposedly Johnny Ace even knew that Bob Orton had Hep C. And then Bob Orton told The Undertaker something like, make sure you wash yourself off well because I got Hep C. That's the story I heard. And then Undertaker freaked out backstage. Then they put in a policy shortly after that. But again, this wasn't blading. This was Hardway intentionally cutting himself, which is apparently they've allowed. As I said, he apparently allowed Roman Reigns to bust him open intentionally with the stairs here. Randy Orton allowed Lesnar to hit him with elbows in this one. And John Cena allowed himself to take a Hardway shot here. And this was him busting his head on the turnbuckle. So whatever, AEW is doing it all the time. So why not? There you go. Ben Hammond was at the Great North Wrestling event last weekend in Ottawa. And he's also going to be at the one July the 15th in Smith Falls, where it looks like the Blood Hunter might be wrestling. Very, very tough MMA fighter on that show. It's not confirmed, but I understand Jack Kilby is in talks with perhaps the Blood Hunter's most tough opponent to date. There's going to be a lot of other great matches on that card, so stay tuned for that. But that is my update on WWE apparently allowing blood from time to time, as long as it's hard way, not done with a blade. And it's Brock Lesnar, because he's the monster of the company and he's the most known wrestler in the company. By the way, apparently Cody Rhodes didn't get that great a reaction compared. Well, he wasn't like the top. As I said, Carlito was the top. Bad Bunny and Savio Vega, those were apparently the tops. Cody's reaction was below them. So a lot of people feel they should have put on the Cody Rhodes match before the Bad Bunny match. And apparently Lesnar got a standing ovation after that match with Cody Rhodes. So Rhodes, although they're trying, I don't think that Rhodes will be the next Hulk Hogan. His promos are just, they seem so scripted to me. And yeah, he's a good wrestler and stuff, but like he's too geekish, like to be considered a cool to a lot of the fans. I just don't think he's going to be like the next Hulk Hogan or anything. He's obviously a top draw for what they consider a top draw now, but he's not going to reach Cena levels. Definitely not. Have a good day.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe